her son was given the name Osawe. He later became Oba Esige. Here's where the drama started. When Idubo was born, he did not cry immediately. In that era, it was inappropriate to announce the birth of a mute baby to the monarch. However, Queen Idia's baby cried as soon as he was born, and thus his birth was reported to Oba Ozolwa, who instantly declared him his first son.
Thanks for clicking on this channel. Please subscribe to FO's blog history and click on the notification button so that whenever we upload a new video you will be notified. The story of Arhuanhan, a giant prince of Benin Kingdom. According to Benin's history, Arhuanhan was a giant who could sweep the city of Benin using a palm tree. Arhuanhan was destined to be an Oba of Benin Kingdom, but the circumstances surrounding his birth meant that he lost the throne to his younger brother who was born the same day with him. Benin history has it that Prince Idibor, who later became Arhuanhan, was born in the morning but didn't cry at birth. While his brother, Prince Osawe, who later became Oba Elsige, was born in the afternoon by Queen Idia and cried first. Hence, Prince Osawe was anointed as the crown prince of Benin Kingdom. As compensation for Prince Idibor, known as Arhuanhan, missing out on becoming Oba of Benin, his father, Oba Ozolua, made him the Duke of Udo, a town not far from Benin City. The two brothers went to war over who succeed their father, Oba Ozolua. Please sit down and watch as Victor Nsieber gives an analytical analysis of the whole scenario between Prince Osawe and Prince Idibor. Happy viewing.
If you were to visit Udo, a town located in the Ovia Southwest local government area of Edo State, you would see this conspicuous, gigantic statue of a man holding an uprooted palm tree and seemingly sweeping with it. Who was he? Well, this is the story of Prince Idubo, also known as Arhuanhan. He was a giant, and legend has it that he used to uproot palm trees with his bare hands and use it to sweep his father's compound. Who was Prince Idubo? Arhuanhan. Sit back, relax, as I take you on a journey way back in time and tell you about the history of Arhuanhan, the giant warrior prince of Benin Kingdom. During the reign of Oba Ozolwa, between 1483 and 1504 AD, two of his wives, Queen Idia, a name that I know sounds familiar. Queen Idia was the mother of Oba Esige, who is the subject of the famous Festac mask. So, as I was saying, Oba Ozolwa had two wives, Queen Idia and Queen Ohomi. They gave birth on the same day, both queens. They both had sons. Now, Queen Ohomi gave birth in the morning to the first son, and he was named Idubo, who was fondly called Arhuanhan. Okay? On the other hand, Oloi Idia gave birth later in the day. Her son was given the name Osawe. He later became Oba Esige. Here's where the drama started. When Idubo was born, he did not cry immediately. In that era, it was inappropriate to announce the birth of a mute baby to the monarch. However, Queen Idia's baby cried as soon as he was born, and thus his birth was reported to Oba Ozolwa, who instantly declared him his first son, automatically moving Idubo to the number 2 slot. Idubo, while growing up, was very bitter about this predicament. On many occasions, he asked his mother if the king was his true father and why he callously took away his birthright in such a mean manner. Idubo, also known as Arhuanhan, grew up to be a giant. Like I said earlier, legend has it that he uprooted palm trees with his bare hands, sweeping the ground with the fronds. He turned out to be a great warrior who had the overwhelming advantage of size and stamina. I must add here that another version of this story reveals that Idubo and Osawe were not actually the eldest sons of Oba Ozolwa. They had an elder brother, Ogidigbo, who was said to have become a cripple following a combat competition between him and his brothers. His disability automatically disqualified him from taking over from his father. Citizens secretly pointed accusing fingers at Queen Idia as being responsible for Ogidigbo's calamity, using her mystical powers to ensure that her son, Osawe, that is Oba Esigi, clinched the crown. Before his demise in 1504, Oba Ozolwa had already carved out dukedoms for his sons. This was to avoid anarchy in the next dispensation. As compensation, Arhuanhan was therefore made the Duke of Udo, a town not too far from Benin. Please note that Idia's role in the nullification of the first son, Ogidigbo, was not lost on Arhuanhan, whose enmity towards his brother Osawe, Oba Esigi, intensified that he even tried to assassinate him. A noted warrior and conqueror of the fierce town of Okumu, Arhuanhan was bigger and stronger and could easily have trounced the weaker Esigi, whom Oba Ozolwa had sent to attend the Portuguese mission school after his baptism. Arhuanhan's assassination attempts could have succeeded were it not for Idia, who was reportedly skilled in magical arts and whom he knew was a formidable opponent he had to overcome. Realizing he had to acquire supernatural powers if he wanted to take on Idia, who was her son's spiritual protector, oral tradition recounts that Arhuanhan retreated to Uroho village to learn the art of black magic from an old sorceress, Iyenuroho. That he chose a woman as teacher is clear recognition that his opponent was a woman and that he had to learn the ways of female mystical powers to be assured of victory. We should note that Esigi's possible lack of combat experience is as a result of having to attend the school of Portuguese missionaries rather than join his father in fighting wars. Failing to accept the facts on ground, the Duke Enoge of Udo, Arhuanhan, refused to play a subordinate role to his brother Oba Esigi, and at first tried to make Udo the capital of Benin Kingdom, with himself as king. It did not take too long before the two brothers went to war. The war was difficult, bitter, and long drawn out. It was not until the third campaign that Udo was finally defeated. The third campaign was timed to coincide with the planting season, when Udo citizen soldiers, who were mainly farmers, would be busy on their farms. Meanwhile, Arhuanhan had two sons, Pamabira and Onioni. They were ruling alongside their father, but before the war, Pamabira died. Prior to the last battle with his brother, Oba Esigi Arhuanhan told his surviving son, Onioni, to stay at home and wait for his return, alerting his household to listen out for the sound of the magical bell that he placed somewhere in the house. He explained that if it chimed, they would know that his brother Oba Esigie had won the battle. Later on, as he fought in the war front, Arhuanhan was shocked to see a young man fighting just like himself. The man had a similar stature and physique to him. Without thinking twice, he used a powerful incantation, commanding his mystical sword to immediately kill the copycat soldier. At that moment, the warrior died, only for Arhuanhan to discover that the man who possessed his fighting skills was none other than his beloved son, Onioni. Arhuanhan had no idea that his son had sneaked along to join in the war. In rage and pain, Arhuanhan intensified his onslaught until there was no winner in the battlefield. When victory was not forthcoming, Arhuanhan decided to run home on time, but his movements were not swift enough. By this time, the magical bell at home was already sounding, and therefore Udo people believed Oba Esigie had conquered their duke. This perceived tragedy caused his wife to jump into a river close to the lake Odigi. She died. As soon as Arhuanhan got home, he found out that his wife had jumped into the river. He felt so sad. His sons were gone, now his wife. A depressed Arhuanhan also jumped into the lake. He did not want to be captured prisoner and taken back to Benin. Awa. Before jumping into the lake, he left his Ivie coral beads necklace, the precious symbol of authority in Benin land, dangling from a tree branch where it could be easily found. Only the Oba could inherit such trophies of dead or conquered leaders and nobles. Now Oba Esigie, out of excitement, wore his late brother's necklace. He became mentally disoriented right after he put the necklace around his neck. Removing the necklace from his neck made no difference. The king was immediately taken back to Benin in that hopeless state. His mother, Queen Idia, immediately located a Yoruba Babalawo at Ugbo Ilaje in the riverine area and brought him to Benin to work on the king's spiritual ailment. He later cured the Oba of the shameful ailment, and the queen, after rewarding him generously, prevailed on him, the Yoruba mystical healer, to settle permanently in Benin in order to continue rendering his services to Oba Esigie should the need arise. The Yoruba traditional consultant agreed to stay in Benin and set up home at Ogbelaka quarters, where his descendants have thrived until this day. Back to Udo. Many believe that Arhuanhan did not die inside the Odigi river. They claim he still comes out at night to parade the town of Udo, providing protection for his people. Before now, the nights Arhuanhan came out of the water, all the babies in Udo town would cry non-stop. This trend forced the people of Udo to appeal to Arhuanhan spiritually. After specific rituals, the children no longer cried when he came out of the lake. Furthermore, the river the wife dived into is directly opposite the lake. A road separates this river from the lake. Once every year, the river always crosses the road to meet the lake where Arhuanhan committed suicide. That's a love affair still ongoing, yeah? Even till date, it is forbidden to touch or drink the water from that lake. You're not allowed to fish there. It is also forbidden to kill any animal from or around the lake. The waters were declared sacred. It was told that around 1955, a group of Udo people were returning from their farm when they saw a young boy shooting birds close to the lake, and the stone dropped into the lake. Immediately, there was a loud voice from the lake that sounded like thunder, and many trees around the place shook as a heavy wind blew. At that moment, the boy became sick and he was rushed home for treatment. Udo Town used that opportunity to tell the public that Arhuanhan did not really die, but still lives in the lake, especially as there was never proof of his death. I hope you enjoyed this story. If you did, give this video a like, share this video with anybody who loves history, and of course please subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. My name remains Victor Isibo. It is bye for now.